God is writing your story, but so many times we try to recreate that story. We try to add to the chapter, change a chapter, shift the title of the book, add people and characters into the story that weren't supposed to be there. You start to change the narrative of the original story that God has for you. And that's exactly what happened here with the story of Adam and Eve. Welcome to the new Storytime with Sirece, where Bible stories come to life. Through the gift of storytelling, we'll revisit powerful moments from God's word that encourages, inspires, and strengthens our faith. So let's go back in time to uncover timeless truths and prepare our hearts for an eternity with Jesus. Are you ready? Let's begin. And now, let's all welcome your host, Sirece Thomas. Hey guys! Hello! Welcome back in. I am super excited that you are back for another week of Storytime with Sirece Bible Series Edition. Listen, we are diving into the stories. We are making a dent, just a tiny dent in the Bible. There are so many stories. Like I said, it is the greatest binge you will ever read. These stories happened over 2,000 years ago and are still prevalent and relevant today in our own lives if we can just dive through and take some time to dissect what God was trying to show us and teach us through these stories. And let me tell you, these are not just stories. This is real life. That's why there's nothing new under the sun. So many people read the Bible as, fantasy and, this may have happened. No, this happened. Until you believe the type of faith that men had and the type of power that the Lord revealed, you will not really be able to experience that in your own life today until you understand that this thing is real, okay? And God is calling you out, okay, into your own Bible story. He has been writing your story, and it's nonstop, and only He has the final say. And until you get in line with His book and stop trying to create your own book or add or take away chapters that are there, you will begin to experience life the way that He called you. And that's what leads us into the story of Adam and Eve. And listen, when we get into these stories, I'm going to focus on only one or two angles because there's so many ways we can go that some of these are going to need a part two. And where I want to go with this today with the story of Adam and Eve is just that. God is writing your story, but so many times we try to recreate that story. We try to add to the chapter, change a chapter, shift the title of the book, add people and characters into the story that weren't supposed to be there. You start to change the narrative of the original story that God has for you. And that's exactly what happened here with the story of Adam and Eve. So many of us know, even if you're not a Christian, everyone knows the story of Adam and Eve. God gave Adam a beautiful garden. Then not only that, He took from Adam and gave him a beautiful wife, someone that was a companion perfect for him, okay? And that's a whole different story right there, okay? The woman was created to be his helpmeet and came straight from his own rib, all right? And so we sometimes even thwart the purpose of man and woman today and how we are to be in relationships and forgetting, the purpose of the man and the purpose of the woman, all right, when we come together. But when we actually fall in alignment with the original story of Adam and Eve and who we are to be to each other, we will experience a wonderful relationship. If you can walk in the role as a leader so that your woman can be set free from things, and if a woman can walk in the role of a helpmeet and be able to humble herself no matter how much wisdom God has given her, knowing when to speak and knowing when not to speak, all right, you talking about me, now you talking about me. You'll begin to enjoy your relationship on a whole new level, all right? So He gave him everything. Adam and Eve now have charge over literally paradise. Everything in that garden, luscious green plants, rivers flowing. But of course, He gave purpose and instruction. There was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil right in the center. Isn't there just always something there to just tempt us to look away? And it's always that, the moment it's just like a little kid. You say, don't press that button. Now that's all they want to do is press that button. I don't know. I believe God knew that. He knew that human nature was not going to be able to survive this test. He knew all of the things that were going to follow through after that, leading up to Jesus, right? And so one of the things I just wanted to encourage you with today, when you think about the story of Adam and Eve, and listen, I encourage you that when we're doing these Bible stories, that you take a moment to just go back 1 or 2 chapters and read the story for yourself so that you can see yourself in it and actually glean from this message. And the angle that I want to give to you today is that you have to stop changing the narrative. God is writing your story, and many times the reason why we mess up or we fumble the promises that he's given us is because we begin to take the pen from God's hand and try to shift and change and, move that around and do it a little differently. And we start to change the narrative. The original narrative has original purpose. And once you start to change that, you change the purpose of the story. You change the entire plot of the story. You change the ending of the story. You have to trust the narrative. Many times we change the narrative when we feel like, number one, there's something better. I could do this a little differently. Maybe it's more comfort. Maybe there's something you feel like you're missing. Maybe you feel like this can't be it. And you're not trusting the fact that when God is writing a story, he's not going to show you everything at one time. So maybe you're rushing to just try to create something that you feel is not there. That's not enough. And you just won't stick to the narrative that he's given you and trusting him. And number 2, you begin to entertain these thoughts that go against the original story, right? Eve was in the garden and she started to talk to the serpent and she started to entertain the thoughts of, well, why can't I eat from the tree? And did God say that? And once you start to entertain thoughts, those thoughts now start to increase and they start to take room and you start to forget what God originally said to you. Even if God is calling you and you're like, okay, I know he's nudging me on my shoulder. I know I'm missing something and I need more from God, but you keep changing the narrative. You keep distracting yourself. You keep thinking that the grass is greener on the other side when truly the grass is green where God has given it to you. And all the enemy wants to do is get you to believe that there's something better. There's something different. There's a better way. There's a better narrative. There's a better story. And all of that is a lie. The enemy is constantly lurking and seeking to find ways to get you to change the narrative because he knows if you stick to the story that God has given you, he does not want to see you in the ending where you are victorious with the Father. He does not want to see you form a relationship with Jesus and come up out of depression, come up out of anxiety, come up out of distraction, come up out of these relationships that are pushing you to the left and to the right. And that's what I want to say for number 3. Watch the people that are talking to you, and not just the people, because sometimes it could be people who genuinely love you, but they don't know the ending of your story. So they'll say something and it kind of gets you thinking to shift the narrative. And because there's someone you love and you're so familiar with, because that's what happened when Eve started talking to Adam, that's his wife, that's his girl. Like, okay. And then she bit the apple. And I think it's so interesting that when Eve bit the apple, nothing happened, at least nothing that we could see. And she convinced the man, why don't you try it? And he's like, well, nothing happened. And so we have to be careful because sometimes we're watching other people and we're like, well, they did it and they're good. So let me try it. Don't be deceived because you don't know what's going on in other people's lives behind closed doors. You don't know if Eve started to feel something inside and she started to get scared. And she's like, here, you taste it. She didn't want to be alone. No one wants to be alone in misery. Misery loves company. So whether it's a person that is of bad influence, and you know this because you've seen the red flags, or it's someone that you love and you're so familiar with, and they're giving you a narrative and you know because something feels off, everything's people speak into your life, bring it back to God. Don't just follow people because they are close to you, because they are your spouse, they're your sister, your mother, your father, your brother, your pastor, your mentor. None of them are God. Only God knows your best interest, and he will use people to help you stay on the path. But sometimes people will just have their own. I think this will be good for you. You would do great doing this. Trust God. Anything someone tells you, before you begin to entertain it, Bring it back to God. Bring it back to what his word says about you. Don't allow people to pull you further away from where God is trying to bring you. He's trying to bring you out. He's calling you and you know it. He's got a story that is so beautiful. He's got a garden for you that is filled with all of your heart's desires and then some. It's just that you're not going to see it right away. I wonder if Adam got frustrated when every time he was looking for a helper and an animal was presented to him and then this animal was presented to him and he's just like, this ain't it. And sometimes we get frustrated because God brings us on a journey. And we're like, well, this ain't it and this ain't it, but there's purpose behind it. Because I can't imagine just how much more he appreciated Eve when she finally came, because all the other ones were not it. And I'm glad he didn't give up and say, forget it, God, I don't need a helper, because listen, all right? All right. So I want to encourage you with the story of Adam and Eve today. Don't just change the narrative because you feel the grass is greener over there. The grass is greener where you water it. The grass is greener where God planted it, not over there. Trust me, people say that and it is real. Also, stop entertaining those thoughts that are not of God. You've got to learn how to speak over your own life. You don't always have to run to your mentor, run to your pastor. You have power to say, Lord, right now, in the name of Jesus, give me strength, give me power, and be a present help that you promised me, because I'm struggling. He wants you to talk to him. Journal, talk to him. Don't entertain those thoughts, because that's how you change the narrative. And watch what people are speaking over your life. Don't just let them influence you to do something. Bring everything back against what God is saying in your life and how he is writing your narrative and the story that he has for you, because it's so much better. Because at the end of the day, we will have to serve those consequences when we decide to go off book. But God is a great God. He will continue to re-navigate us. I mean, Adam and Eve still got to live a life. They were blessed. They were fruitful. It was a struggle compared to where they came from. But I'm like, everybody want to be mad at Eve. But listen, you couldn't do it. Trust me. If I was in there, child, the first time I got there, I probably would have bit the apple. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not even going to hold you. I would have bit the apple. That apple was looking good. I'm sure. And who knows? The Bible speaks in so many ways. We don't know if it was an apple. We don't know if it was a serpent. But whatever it was, I know I have fallen to temptation one too many times in many different areas of my life. So I ain't mad at you, Eve. I understand that was rough. I've entertained the thoughts. I've shifted the narrative. I've allowed other people's ideas to take hold of me instead of going to God and saying, is this what you want from me? So be encouraged. God's got an amazing story for you. He didn't make any mistakes when he started that narrative. Read, and you start to get a little nervous. Maybe that story is going in a place that makes you uncomfortable. Maybe that story is going into a place of letting something go, pursuing forgiveness. And then she, and then he, and you don't really like that. So you try to change it or see, I could do it this way. Trust God's purpose and plan. Trust the story that he has for your life. And you will see, you will enjoy life like never before. So be encouraged. I love you guys. I'll see you next week as we continue with the stories of Storytime with Sirece, Bible Story Edition. Go ahead and read that story and find yourself in it because you're there. See you next week, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.